Hello. Getting ready for our Love Me Chit Chats with Nadine, Searle, and myself. Just waiting for Nadine to pop on. Hello. So we're going to be talking about a part of the book that Nadine's reading and has prompted her to want to have these discussions and unpack what's coming up while she's reading it. So we're just waiting for Nadine to join. Hi, Cornelia. And maybe I need to message her. Give me one sec. Hello. Just waiting for our other half here, Nadine, and we're going to talk about something she wanted to bring into the conversation she's drawn parallels in her life with reading my book Love Me and what's coming up for her. So we're going to unpack that, discuss that, talk about it as soon as she joins. She is also in England, so we may have a time confusion here. So let me just see if I can message her while I'm on Instagram. I have to go to my computer. So thank you for your patience. If you have read the book, let me know. Send a message in the comments and let me know what you're thinking and if there's anything you want us to talk about, or if you want to come on and there she is. There's Nadine. If you want to come on and have a chat with or ask me a question, and that's what prompted this. So I'm going to let Nadine come in. She should be joining any minute, any second. Here she comes. Hi, Nadine.
Hello. How are you?
I'm doing well. It's bright and sunny.
Good.
Feeling bright and sunny.
Yes. We have lovely sunshine here. It's beautiful, even warm sunshine, dare I say.
Yeah.
It's really lovely today. So you've come out of the fog, have you? I think
it was foggy on the weekend, and I was feeling that, so it was kind of funny. But it's beautiful right now. So
I think the weather does reflect our mood sometimes, doesn't it?
Very affected by that.
I'm not sure which. So we're out of the fog, are we, in the sunshine?
Yeah, but we can bring our own sunshine too, and the sun is always there, even if we can't see it. So I always remind myself that when it's foggy, but also noticing how I'm really feeling. So that's part of it.
And that is exactly what we're talking about today, isn't it? Really, really feeling our feelings.
Yeah.
So I'm so pleased to be with you, slowly working my way through your wonderful book, Love Me. Slowly, as you know, but really taking it in and just I'm really grateful for the opportunity to actually read it slowly and to just stop and think a lot, because it is, as I said before, it is making me think a lot, and I hope that other people are doing that too. They're taking their time. Have you heard back from people?
Yes, and I'm so glad you're bringing this up, because I've been getting messages trickling in. It was funny, when I first launched the book, I was getting some, and then gradually, as people are, because not everyone's reading it right away, and then people are like, I want to dive in, but then they're actually messaging me a lot of that same sentiment, that they're really feeling. It's causing them to feel, and having to stop and process what's coming up, but in a good way. And the messages I'm getting are so beautiful, that and people coming in and say, I just imagine you doing, one of them was, I imagine you doing performative art around this. And that was exactly one of my visions, to have, when I launched before the pandemic hit, to do live art on stage while I'm doing a reading, and by somebody else while I'm reading. And then, so anyways, it's interesting hearing that people are drawing parallels in their own lives, in their own ways. And that is what I had hoped, and I preface that with, it's my story, but we all have similar themes in just different ways in our lives. So it's so good. I think that we're having this conversation, that you were courageous enough to share your own what's going on with you in real time with while reading it. So, and really
Yeah.
talk about this, because that is so beautiful that these conversations are being prompted from the book. So
Yeah. Well, I am so lucky that I get to ask you the questions I want to
yeah.
ask. That's a real privilege for me. So I love that. But I really like that idea of, like you say, doing more. You know, I think you said at the start of the book, didn't you? You know, you want people to really
Mm-hmm.
work through this and really get moved by it. And that is happening. So that must be exactly what you want. It must be lovely for you to get that feedback. But I think there really is a place, isn't there, for doing more with the book.
Mm-hmm.
Like you say, some of your lovely art, or other people doing art, expressing themselves with the feelings that come up.
Right.
When you said performance, I was thinking of dance, movement, that
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Which I
I'm not
hadn't thought
sure.
of. Yeah, but
not,
it's
not myself
beautiful.
personally, because that would be disastrous, but you know, I can see
Oh, come
ballet.
on.
I can see ballet. But it is that kind, and a lot of it, as we've said before, a lot of what you've written is poetry.
Mm-hmm.
So to express it in that way is so beautiful, because it is, and that's what I can't stress enough. It's so much more than just a book to read, isn't it?
Yeah.
There's so much more there. So if you haven't got it already, you need to go and get it,
Yes.
definitely.
Thank you for saying that. Thank you for that plug. And it is a really carefully crafted with love work of art in and of itself. And that's why I wanted to share the insights with the poetry and give it context, and then draw that, invoke that emotion within people to reflect. And
Yeah.
I know last time we were talking about hitting the easy button and taking, kind of
We
avoiding the
were.
pain, avoiding any discomfort. And
Exactly.
I mean, maybe we
And
can
that's,
pick up where we left off there.
yeah, I think that's perfect, because the next thing I said to you, wasn't it, about that you've said it so many times, and it's an expression I'd never heard
Hmm.
before, about leaning into that pain.
Yeah.
Now, I've got to be honest with you. Sometimes you've said it to me personally, lean into it, and I'll go, I've got a resistance. I go, oh, I don't want to. I've got that in me. It's always been there. I think it always will be. That actually, and you express it so beautifully in your book, that, we don't want to feel the pain. There's shame, there's guilt, there's all kinds of emotions that prevent us from leaning in. But
Right.
actually, for me as well, I do feel that um, leaning in comes with it's a beautiful expression, because to me it conjures up a hug and a cuddle,
Mm.
almost as if, if you lean into it, it will be okay. But you've got to be quite brave, have you? I mean, do you
You
do you
do.
think that, or has
Yes. And okay, so a couple things. I love how you said that it's softness, because I view or perceive leaning into the discomfort as you're receiving a gift at the end of it. So it really
yeah,
is, because we can either, and this was just through my going through it myself, and discovering this through my processes, we can either stay where we are and keep not leaning in and keep running away in a different direction, but it's going to keep following us and popping up and showing up in different ways. And we're going to repeat the same patterns in new relationships. And that's what I really started to see when I had the end of a relationship, and then I went into another one, and it was literally that old relationship on steroids, in like power packed in, a 3 or 4 month period. And it was like, okay, Trish, you didn't get it the first time. So it's really about wanting to, we have a choice, really. And I'm thinking of like Diane, because it really comes down to choice and courage. Because choice, we can either stay in the place of pain and keep repeating that, or whatever it is, whether we're sick, whether it's our wounds, whether it's just being in a place where we don't want to be. We can keep allowing ourselves to hold that status quo and nothing changes unless we change something. Or we can lean into feeling a little discomfort, and then through that process, what that discomfort is about is really information for us. So that's why there's a gift, because that that discomfort is a bunch of, it reveals a lot about what it is that's holding us
mm,
back and keeping us stuck. So I think
yes,
that that's why it is a gift. So for example, if you're running away, you're from the discomfort, then you're just keeping things the way they are. And like I said, it's going to keep showing up. But if you take the time, and that's what I decided to do, I was like, I can't keep showing up this way. I got to see, yes, it wasn't all on me for, it's always, there's two parts to whatever the relationship or whatever it might be. But I didn't want to keep repeating this. So it was,
Yeah.
it felt not so good to be in this, and why am I doing this, and uncovering that and seeing the connecting of the dots throughout my life of how I showed up this way. But it also, it allowed me to face parts of myself, like you mentioned, guilt and shame. So there was that first, and that's what keeps us, that's what holds us back, because it's the fear that there's something wrong with us, that we're so broken that we're never going to be able to repair ourselves, or
Yes.
but it's through that leaning into the discomfort for me that I realized that I am already like there, for me, in my authentic, natural born inherent state, like there's nothing to feel guilty about. There's nothing to feel shame about. There's nothing. That is just what our socialization or our conditioning kind of puts upon us to keep us small, to keep us fitting in to society in the way that the systems and structures are built for us to participate, for us to always, you know, please please others ahead of ourselves in order to fit in, and then we we just become, that's what who we become, or that's who I became this, I'm doing all the steps, I'm doing everything I'm supposed to do, now what? So
Yeah.
it's, yeah.
I think that's what it's all about, isn't it? That kind of, I mean, I myself was so scared of what I was going to find, scared of myself, maybe scared of what I was going to be. I didn't want to change. I was content. I wouldn't say happy, but I was staying in that pain
Mm-hmm.
because I knew it. It was my comfortable place. Crazy as that might sound, it was. And I think a lot of people probably can relate to that, whether they realise it or not. We do stay uncomfortable for so many reasons, don't we? And I think it is very important what you said there, is that actually, that's where we're going to learn. And I've heard that so
Mm-hmm.
many times, and I heard that years ago when I needed to hear it, but I didn't understand it. I thought, what am I going to learn by hurting myself? What am
Yeah.
I going to learn by going through that pain? I couldn't see it.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, I'd like to read, if you don't mind, just a few lines from one of your lovely poems. And I think it
Sure.
is Waves of Grief, because it really says it to me. It really made me feel. And it's just sink down, let go, and soak it in.
Mm.
So I do apologise. I'm going to start that again. Sink down, let go, and soak in it. Makes a difference. Feel it in every corner of your being. Now, I have just got chills as I've read that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how you cope when I read things back to you,
Yeah.
because if I wrote it, I'd be quite emotional. But that scares me.
Yeah.
Even now, even though I know those 3 lines make me go, really? Is that what you're asking me to do? And that's why I like that term, lean into it, because that is a little bit different, isn't it? And do you know what it reminds me of? I did a firewalk years ago, and we had to do a lot of trust and everything. And we had to do that classic leaning back and letting someone catch you. Have you ever done that?
Yeah. I haven't done that actually. But I know
Really
what you're
quite
talking about.
scary.
I've seen it. Yeah.
It's trust, isn't it? It's all
It
about
is
trust.
trust.
But yeah, that leaning in, and actually, and when you do, it's surrendering, isn't it? It's that
It
kind of, I'm letting it go, like you just explained there, soaking it. Oh my
I'm
God,
just, I kind of got
scary.
lost for a minute because I was thinking back to when I wrote that and what I was feeling when I wrote that. And it really is this letting go of anything, letting go of the shame, letting go of the doubt, just
Yes, yeah,
really, really being in it and allowing yourself to feel whatever it is that comes up with that.
yeah,
And that's okay, because I mean, I said there's so many it's not just the guilt and the shame or whatever's like, that's the outer package, but on the inside, it's really, it's just really about like feeling that we're not allowed to feel how we're feeling. So we're
yeah,
so, it's like come on, like we tell ourselves, come on, we can get through this. We don't need to let this bring us down. But no, let it bring you down. Let it bring you down, and let whatever it is that's inside of you be revealed, so that you can grow and expand into a higher self, a higher version of yourself. And that's why I say it like that, that holds all the information in there. And so, like I said before, and I see Diane's joined us, the Choice and Courage Company. It's the choice to it's almost like, you know, there's no reward without risk. And so it's the choice to take the risk of, yes, I'm going to probably not feel good. Yes, I'm going to really just feel like shit. And then, you know, and it can be like at your worst, at your bottom. But from there, that's where you get the information. And that's what, like, where the courage comes in. Because and something else I recall from a recent conversation I was having with Diane is that fear is driven by your ego, and it really is. It's about protecting yourself. And courage comes from the soul. So your soul knows what is its desire for you, what your potential is, and knows that this is I mean, our soul is there for us to be that softness for us in uncovering what it is we're afraid to uncover. So it's having that courage to go there and to really just soak in it, and like I said, and let it, and just be, you know, absorbed in it, and really glean everything you can from what that is telling you. And for me, what it was, you know, that's where I found the deepest love for myself, and the most compassion for myself in those moments. And that's what that whole process is about coming to that place where we can find underneath all the shit, to find the love, to find the compassion, and then start to build everything with that. And then you know, outward from there, to express that outwardly. So it's that internal home. That's where I was like, how can I build this in myself? Like it was like a completely from the bottom up, from the ground up process of being in that. I just remember the feeling of when I was writing that, like soaking in it. And I was not in a good, I was not in a good place. Like I just felt horrible.
No.
Yeah. So.
But you've expressed it
Yeah.
so beautifully, and I think that is, you know, it's one of the beauties, if you are a creative person and you can write or express in whatever way, that gives you that, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So but it's something, and for me, as I say, I was very resistant. I was very scared. I didn't know. I knew I'd heard all the words like you're saying now, got it, but I thought I just couldn't do this.
Yeah.
For so many reasons. So I got the help of a therapist, several over many years, that helped me. So what would you say? And I know that you help people. You've got much more than just your book. You help people personally, don't you, with reaching out and going through these processes. You hold that lovely space for people. So what would you say to someone like me who came along, who you know there's a problem? I've come to you because there's a problem. How would you encourage me to lean into it with all my prickliness and all my resistance?
I would say, I mean, there's lots of things you can do, but I mean, even the work that you do in helping people come back to their calm, and because I think it's all about tuning into that inner wisdom that we have inside of us. So we have everything we need inside of us. So it's about, sometimes we can't get there ourselves, and that's where, like, you and I come in. Or if it's, you know, it may require somebody to, you know, have a therapist and somebody like us. Like I feel like the work that I do with my Reiki, and I provide support in unpacking what is coming up with that, through that process. I do that for others, but it's kind of like maybe as a compliment to somebody, if it's something that's a lifelong wound or issue or pattern that they're dealing with. That, I mean, I call having a toolbox, because there's lots of things we can use. But one of the main things for me was about, so the more I realized that, the more I leaned in, the more I learned about myself, the more I wanted to do it. And Reiki is a way to help facilitate that process. And I know you're familiar with that too, because
Yeah.
there's something about it that's, it releases energy that we have stored in our bodies, and energy of emotion over our entire lifetimes if we're not actively clearing that. So
Mm.
that was like one of the first steps I took, and that's how I help people. That's one step where people can,
Yeah.
clients that I work with can use to help start to unpack if they don't know what they don't know yet. It kind of brings it to the
Yes.
surface
Yeah.
energetically.
Mm.
And if you haven't experienced Reiki, I mean, it's really something it's something you can't really explain unless you experience it.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
things just start to come up, because really it's unlocking those energies for what has been blocked before, and
Mm.
not
Mm.
accessible, as far as that wisdom that's always
Yeah.
inside of you. So I got somebody saying
Yeah.
Reiki was, like Reiki was my salvation
Yes.
too. It really is. That's
Yes.
why I
Me
became a
too.
Reiki
Me too.
master, and I wanted to have that
Exactly.
tool for myself and then help others. So that's one of the things. The other thing is writing, right? And that's poetry. That's how this book came into manifestation, because I started processing my pain through writing. I wanted to express it somehow, and then um, putting that together with the story. But then that evolved into me returning to something I had enjoyed in my childhood. So that's something I also encourage a lot of people to do, is to find what brings you joy,
Mm.
and
Mm.
and maybe lean into that and explore it, and
Yeah.
find
I love
yourself through
that. Yeah.
that again. So I know you
Yeah.
do a lot of work as well with your calming method, and I've experienced that too. And
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
not just about finding that state of calm, because you've really helped. Then it's the ability to go deeper once we're at that state, and what is coming up, and you have that
Yeah.
process of gentle questioning, and that's really helped
Mm.
as well. So I know, we both kind of provide those avenues for
Yeah.
people to explore when they're looking to lean in and need some support, right?
Mm. Yeah, no, I so love that, because you're right. It's that kind of, what are we leaning into? What's going to happen? That kind of thing. And you're right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Reiki is something that changed my life forever, and it's wonderful when
Mm-hmm.
we experience it, isn't it? And it's that, because I was thinking in my head, going, how do we solve this? I want to
Mm-hmm.
solve it intellectually, because that's what I had done, and not realizing that there is another way. And you're absolutely right. It's actually maybe going back to childhood, going back to another place. I always start with clients of finding your happy place, whatever that is,
Yeah.
feeling that happy place. And I think you're right, leaning into that as well as leaning into the scary stuff is what this is all about, isn't it? So you've opened up that little phrase for me massively, which is really brilliant.
Yeah.
But it is right. I needed someone to hold that space for me. I needed someone that I trusted, that I could actually go there. And also the combination with the energy work that did the work without me having to use my head. So
Right.
it's really
That
that
is
getting
such a
out of
good
my
point.
head was key. Yeah, I couldn't do it in my head. That wasn't the place for this work to happen. And I didn't know that. So it's something I learnt for myself, and learnt so much more that now I can offer that to other people. And like you say, you do the same too
Mm-hmm.
in your beautiful way. And this is what people need, isn't it? Someone to
Yes.
give them that, to lead, so they can lean into maybe that
Right.
other person, these other therapies, or this other way
Mm-hmm.
of doing it. So it's leaning into it in such a varied way, isn't it?
It
Which I think
is.
is so
Yeah.
wonderful.
And
Yeah.
it's so it's really that process of self-discovery, and but taking, having the courage to lean in the first place, and
Mm.
finding what's working for you. I love how you said that the Reiki or the energy work it allows you to not have to use your mind, because that's what gets
Yeah.
us hung up, is we think
Oh,
we have to figure it out
isn't it?
up here, but we don't. We
That's what
don't.
gets in the way, isn't
Yeah,
it?
that's what
Yeah.
gets in our
Yeah.
way. That's where
Yeah.
the fear
And
comes
that's,
in, actually. That's,
yes,
yeah,
exactly, because we're in our head trying to make it all
yeah,
right, and actually, forgetting that there's everything else.
yeah.
Everything
There's everything else.
else.
So
Yeah.
it's so it's so beautiful. I forgot to mention too that I'm speaking of all of these different modalities that we can offer and we can explore. I'm working on building a course or a program for art to help unpack, process it. It's a creative
Mm.
expression, healing through that way,
Yes.
kind
Yeah.
of unlocking what's going on through art first, and then being able to put words to it after. So it's, a different
Mm.
process of that. Again, not really having to think it out up here, but just letting it come from within. So,
Yes,
so
yeah.
that's up and coming. I wanted
That
to put that little
that would be
nugget out
beautiful.
there.
Yeah.
And
That will be so good, won't it? Because it is so. When I used to work with the nursery children, before they could speak properly, they could express themselves, but they didn't have that, like you said, the tools. They didn't have, we used to do just flicking paint about to music, that kind of thing,
hmm
and they were expressing themselves. So it's more than just language, it's more than just in our head, isn't it? It's
right.
every way we can express. And I do believe there's a lot of to be said for moving through emotions physically.
Yes,
If when we are scared, when we are hurting, we hold ourselves very tight, don't
you're
we?
so right.
And Reiki gives that flow of energy, doesn't it? It moves things that are blocked.
hmm
It does that naturally, which is so, it's a blessing, isn't it? But also, when we move as well, when we actually go, I'm brave enough to take a step, literally,
Yes, yes.
to actually do that, to move, to actually go. I mean, I shout at the sea, I move, I'm got quite, I do things like that because actually being vocal, moving, making,
hmm
burn a fist, doing whatever you need to do sometimes makes a difference, doesn't it?
It does.
To actually being still and being, like you say, trying to work it all out in our head.
Yeah, it's really releasing it from your physical body
Mm.
when you do that too.
Yeah,
So I
yeah,
love
let it
that.
go.
Thank you for bringing that
Yeah,
into the conversation, because it's such, we can talk about Reiki, but or energy work or anything that's, people might not be familiar with as a healing tool, but it really is taking it out of the mind and bringing it
yes.
into, for the soul to be driven from our
Yeah,
soul and just from our being. So,
yes,
and not having to think
exactly.
about it. So
Mm.
that's beautiful.
Yeah. I think it's encouraging as well then for people to hear that. I
It
needed to
is,
hear that
yeah.
years ago. That actually there are lots of other ways, and there are lots of people like you and I who can facilitate these processes and help and support people. So it's really wonderful that we can do that.
Yes,
And I'd like to just give a nod to, we've got a few people that
we
have joined
do.
us on
Yeah,
the
yeah, thanks
KS Media
everyone who
app.
joined. Yeah.
Yes, hello, hello everybody. Glad you're here. Please do feel free to ask us questions because we'll look at this afterwards, won't we? And we'll answer
Yeah,
questions.
we can answer in the comment.
But
Yep.
the Cornelia Stephanie Media Group app is where you
Yes.
will find me and Trish and the lovely Diane McClay who joined us earlier. I think I did see
She was
Cornelia's
on
name
here
pop
too.
up
Yep.
actually. Yeah, I think she was, but it's thanks to Cornelia we're all together
Yes,
and in
she's the
this
one who
group.
brought us together. Yep.
Yes, exactly. And there is so much, we offer so much in the app, don't
We
we?
do.
But there's so many other people there that offer very, very wonderful processes and things that they can help people with. So it's
Yeah,
definitely a good thing to look at.
everything you need, and we're growing, and the app is evolving, and it's just, yeah, we're getting a new version coming soon, and we're just making
Yeah.
lots of cool changes to it. So if you don't have it already, go download it and
Okay.
join us,
Yeah,
and
go.
come see what it's all about. And you can find both
Mm.
of us there in the KS Media Group app,
Yes.
in your Apple App Store, Google Play, right?
Yeah, it's all there and it's free, isn't
It
it,
is
for
free.
users
Yep.
to actually look at everything. So that is good.
Yes.
And I love the fact that you mentioned there earlier about your ideas that you're having. And I know that you're taking your lovely work into the workplace as well, aren't you?
Yes.
Helping people in the workplace because that's a very uncertain place for a lot of people at this time, isn't it? So
Yes.
it really does help, doesn't it, with working relationships, with feeling valued. And so companies need to get on board with this as well, don't they, as
It
personal
is, and it's
development.
inspiring that I'm working with some companies that already see that, and see the value in really making sure that their well-being of their employees, and which is it's their greatest asset. That's at the forefront, and really inviting in new ways to do that actually are helpful and give people that overall sense of well-being in their day, and just
Yeah,
that
yeah.
being, it's bringing the humanity back into the workplace and bringing love into the
Mm.
workplace, so where
But
it has
yes, I
not
think,
really ever
yeah,
been allowed. So it's
yes, this is what I've
beautiful.
heard you
Yeah.
saying. It goes perfectly, doesn't it, with your book? Love Me is the
Yes.
book. love me is your message, isn't it?
Yes.
And I think, love in the workplace is, yes, the new way to be. I really do feel that. And I'm glad that you're doing this. People need you in the workplace, without a doubt. I've just got to say hello, guys. I've just noticed Sandrine has joined us. Hello,
Oh, hi,
Sandrine. Nice
Sandrine.
to see you. I done a couple of lives with Sandrine recently about nutrition, so that is lovely. But getting back to what we were saying, it's really important, isn't it, just for people to know that there's lots of different ways, isn't there,
Yes.
and maybe picking up a book like yours and just going, oh, that word resonates with me, that little phrase resonates, that poem I really feel, and taking that time, like you say, getting out of your head into your feelings.
Mm-hmm.
And that itself, reading your book will be a tremendous amount of healing for some people, because they will take those moments. It will hit like it does with me. And maybe it will encourage people to take a little step and reach out to maybe you or somebody else that
Yeah.
can help them.
Yeah.
So that would be a good thing for people to take away today, wouldn't it?
Yes, it would be. And I mean, that's what I'm hearing. And I am just so grateful that that's what's happening when people are reading it. And, you know,
Mm-hmm.
it's, and I say it in the book, when I heal, you heal, we heal, like that it all begins with each of us
Mm-hmm.
healing that, having that inner connection, and then that's expressed outwardly in everybody we come into contact with, and everyone we're in relationship with, wherever that is. So
Yeah.
that is, and to know that, going back to, just to wrap up and tie this back into what we were talking about, leaning into that discomfort, and to know that we're not broken, and there's, we're as humans, imperfect inherently, and that's part of the beauty.
Yes.
But we also have a plan, and that our soul knows, and our a potential that we can realize if we do lean into that discomfort. So that's
Yeah.
one of the main messages I wanted to share with this.
Message. Yeah. Good message. I think that's a lovely note to leave it on, isn't it,
Yes.
for people to really feel that. So I have loved this, picking your brains a little bit more. Thank you so
Yeah, thank
much.
you, Nadine, and I hope we can do this again as you continue.
Definitely.
So,
Yeah, there's a few little things that popped up, and I thought, oh yes, go a bit deeper for another one. So loads more we can chit chat about. So yes, I hope everyone's enjoyed it. And as I say, put some questions there. We will look back at this, and we'll see you next time.
okay, thanks, Nadine. Thanks, everyone, for
Thank
joining
you.
us.
Bye bye.
Bye.